On August 6, 1945, at 8:15 a.m., in the Japanese city of Hiroshima, an event occurred that changed human history forever. It was the first atomic attack in history. In a single blinding flash, an entire city was devastated. Approximately 140,000 people lost their lives due to the American atomic bomb known as Little Boy. This is not a story, it is real history. In the mid-20th century, humanity witnessed an unprecedented level of destruction. The catastrophic fire known as World War II had engulfed the world. From the vast plains of Europe to the deserts of Africa, from the dense jungles of Asia to the turbulent waters of the Pacific Ocean, everywhere there was a struggle for power, a clash of ideologies, and a brutal game of bloodshed. By 1945, after the fall of Germany and the suicide of Adolf Hitler, the war in Europe had ended. But in the East, dark clouds of war still hung heavily. Japan continued fighting the Allied powers with fierce determination. The Japanese believed strongly in the Bushido Code, the warrior's honor that considered death preferable to surrender. Every citizen, men, women, children, and the elderly seemed ready to sacrifice their lives for Hirohito, their emperor. However, behind this unwavering spirit lay a harsh reality. Years of war had shattered Japan's economy. Industrial production had nearly collapsed, and the American naval blockade had cut off essential supplies like food, fuel, and raw materials. Despite this suffering, Japan refused to surrender. Meanwhile, in the deserts of New Mexico, American scientists were secretly working on something terrifying, the Manhattan Project. This massive project aimed to create the most powerful and destructive weapon ever known. Its success would not only end World War II but also shape the future of global politics. A new era was about to begin, one whose first footsteps would be heard in the skies over two Japanese cities. During the summer of 1945, life for ordinary Japanese people was a constant struggle. Major cities such as Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya were being destroyed by American B-29 bomber raids. Night skies turned red with flames as wooden houses burned rapidly. Millions were left homeless and grieving. Compared to these devastated cities, residents of Hiroshima considered themselves somewhat fortunate. Hiroshima was an important military and industrial center. It housed the headquarters of Japan's Second Army and a crucial port used to transport troops and military supplies. Despite its strategic importance, Hiroshima had largely escaped major air raids. The reason was a secret American plan. The city was deliberately left intact so the effectiveness of the new atomic weapon could be observed. On August 6, 1945, Hiroshima began its day like any other. People went to work and children went to school. Many students were helping demolish buildings to create fire breaks, intended to stop fires from spreading during air raids. Tragically, these efforts to prevent fire could not save them from the unimaginable inferno that awaited. At 7:09 a.m., Japanese radar detected an American aircraft named Straight Flush, a weather reconnaissance plane that was sent to observe Hiroshima's weather conditions and report back to the bomber aircraft. Air raid sirens sounded across the city. People rushed to shelters. But when the aircraft left shortly afterward, authorities assumed it was a routine mission. At 7:31 a.m., the all-clear siren sounded and people returned to their daily activities. They had no idea that this brief calm was the silence before a devastating storm. About 45 minutes later, 3 American aircraft entered the skies over Hiroshima. Among them was the B-29 bomber Enola Gay, piloted by Paul Tibbets. The aircraft carried a 4-ton atomic bomb, Little Boy. At 8:15 a.m., the bomb was released, targeting the Ioi Bridge at the center of Hiroshima. For 43 seconds, the bomb fell silently toward the city. During those seconds, hundreds of thousands of people continued their ordinary lives, completely unaware that they were living their final moments. Then, at about 1,900 feet above the ground, the bomb exploded. A blinding flash of light appeared. Witnesses described it as if 1,000 suns had suddenly descended upon Earth. Those who looked directly at the explosion had their retinas permanently burned. Then came the heat. At the center of the explosion, temperatures reached several million degrees Celsius. On the ground, temperatures rose to 3,000 to 40 degrees Celsius. Within a radius of about 1.5 kilometers, most people were instantly vaporized. Some victims left only shadow-like imprints on walls and stones. Next came the shockwave, traveling at nearly 1,200 kilometers per hour. Buildings collapsed like houses of cards. Within 2 kilometers of the blast, about 90% of structures were destroyed. Around 80,000 people died within seconds. One survivor, Tsutomu Yamaguchi, was a 23-year-old engineer visiting Hiroshima on business. The blast severely burned him and ruptured his eardrums. Somehow he crawled into a shelter. 30 minutes later, black rain began to fall from the enormous mushroom cloud above the city. This rain contained radioactive particles mixed with ash and debris. Those who drank it or were exposed to it suffered severe radiation sickness. By afternoon, Hiroshima had turned into a burning graveyard. Yet Japan's leadership still hesitated to surrender. 3 days later, on August 9, 1945, another B-29 bomber called Boxcar dropped a second atomic bomb, Fat Man, over Nagasaki. Around 40,000 to 70,000 people died instantly. After these two devastating attacks and the Soviet Union's entry into the war, Japan's leaders realized the war could no longer continue. Finally, Emperor Hirohito intervened and decided to surrender. On August 15, 1945, in a historic radio broadcast known as the Jewel Voice broadcast, Emperor Hirohito announced Japan's surrender to the Allied powers. The formal surrender was signed on September 2, 1945, aboard the U.S. battleship USS Missouri, BB-63, in Tokyo Bay. With that, World War II officially ended. But the suffering of Hiroshima and Nagasaki did not end there. Survivors, known as hibakusha, faced lifelong struggles, burn scars, radiation sickness, cancer, leukemia, and social discrimination. Today, Hiroshima and Nagasaki have risen from the ashes like phoenixes. They stand as global symbols of peace and nuclear disarmament. Places like the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Park remind the world of that tragic morning. Tsutomu Yamaguchi lived until 2010, dedicating his life to campaigning against nuclear weapons so that future generations would never experience such horror. The story of Hiroshima and Nagasaki teaches us a powerful lesson. Science and technology can bring immense progress to humanity, but they also hold the power to destroy everything in an instant. The silent cries of those two cities still echo through history, reminding us of one message: never again.